You see the headlines all the time, right? About how dangerous tech is for kids. But what if the science behind all that panic is, well, built on a shaky foundation? We're going to dig into a really fascinating paper from the Oxford Internet Institute that asks a tough question. Do we need to rethink everything we thought we knew?
It really is the big question, isn't it? The one that keeps a lot of us up at night. We're always told to trust the science. But what happens when the science itself might be asking the wrong questions or asking them in the wrong way? It turns out the evidence we're all relying on, it's a lot more complicated and, honestly, a lot less certain than we've been led to believe.
And the researchers, they don't pull any punches. They basically say that for years, there have been these fundamental challenges in how we even study technology. And those challenges have led to a huge misunderstanding of the actual risks. And look, this isn't just some stuffy academic debate. It affects all of us.
So the issue isn't necessarily that social media is totally harmless. It's not that simple. The real issue is that we have a crisis of evidence. Our entire understanding of digital harm could be built on a foundation that's just not as solid as we need it to be.
The paper points out that the big body of research we look to for answers, it's been plagued by what they call consistent shortcomings. And that's key, consistent. It means the same kinds of mistakes have been made over and over again in study after study. And when you do that, you end up with a really distorted picture of the truth.
Okay, so what are these shortcomings exactly? What's actually been going wrong with how we study tech? Let's break down the core challenges that have been holding us back.
At the heart of it all is something scientists call methodological challenges. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying that the basic blueprint for the research, how you design the study, how you collect your data, how you analyze it, is flawed from the get-go. And when the blueprint is bad, the results you get just can't be trusted.
Think about it like this. It's like trying to figure out a person's overall health by only looking at what they had for lunch. One time last Tuesday. It's ridiculous, right? You're missing breakfast, dinner, all the snacks, the weekends. You're missing the whole picture. So many tech studies do the exact same thing. They'll take one tiny snapshot of a person's digital life, like just asking them to remember their screen time, which we know people are terrible at, and then they draw these huge, sweeping, and often really misleading conclusions from it.
And this stuff has real-world consequences. I mean, parents get completely contradictory advice and end up confused. Lawmakers pass policies that don't actually solve the problem, and the public is just left with this general sense of panic without really understanding what's going on. At the end of the day, it's simple. Bad science leads to bad decisions.
But here's the good news. It's not all doom and gloom. The researchers don't just point out what's broken. They actually offer a way to fix it. They've laid out a much stronger framework to get the science right and build a real path forward.
And their plan is really smart. First, you've got to look back and critically appraise the old research to figure out exactly what went wrong. Then you can propose new, more robust methods for the future. But that last step, number 4, that's the real key. Building a framework that's not just stuck in time, but one that can actually evolve right alongside the technology it's trying to understand. Because tech never stops changing, right?
What we're talking about here is a really fundamental shift in thinking. So instead of all these isolated one-off studies that often contradict each other, the goal is to build a collaborative, coherent body of evidence. And maybe most importantly, it's about moving away from this cycle of reactive panic and toward a much more measured, careful approach, one that builds our understanding piece by piece, like a giant puzzle slowly coming together.
This really gets to the heart of their whole philosophy. The goal shouldn't be to chase some dramatic, scary headline. The real goal is to build knowledge slowly, carefully, in a way that is measured, incremental, and actually informative. I mean, that's what good science is all about.
Now, this whole conversation isn't just about figuring out our past mistakes. The stakes are about to get a whole lot higher because we have this massive new wave of technology on the horizon, artificial intelligence.
This timeline really puts it all in perspective. In the past, we pretty clearly misunderstood a lot about social media. Right now, in the present, we're at this crucial moment where we can learn from those mistakes. So the huge question for the future is, can we take these lessons and get the research on AI right from the very beginning?
The researchers are basically sounding the alarm here. There is an enormous wave of research about to come out on how AI affects kids. And if we don't fix our methods right now, we are absolutely doomed to repeat the exact same cycle of panic, confusion, and flawed policy all over again.
This chart shows you the opportunity in a nutshell. Look at social media research. The volume is huge. There's tons of it, but the quality is all over the place. Now look at AI research. It's still a new field, so the volume of research is pretty low. That gives us this incredibly rare chance to prioritize quality over quantity right from the start and build this entire new field on a solid foundation.
So, after all this, what's the big takeaway for us? Well, it means we need to start asking much better questions. We need to shift our whole focus away from just fear and move it towards genuine understanding.
And this, right here, is the most important point. That simple, black and white question, is tech good or is it bad? It's a dead end. It just leads to panic and bad science. The much more powerful and, frankly, the more helpful question we should be asking is this: how can we build a scientific process that is rigorous, reliable, and actually trustworthy?
Because at the end of the day, technology is not going to slow down for us. The digital world is just going to keep changing, keep evolving, and keep throwing new challenges our way. The real question is whether we can build a science that is finally smart enough and careful enough to keep up.